Hello, this is KiwaniTalk. My name's Ray Scaboria. I'll be your host for this evening's program. KiwaniTalk is a public information program brought to you from the facilities of WDHS at Dearborn High School, where we record our shows with the help of Kiwanians and students that work at the school here, and our longtime director, Ken McCollum. Today our guest is Colleen Madsen. I want to get the D before the S in your name, Colleen.
Nailed it.
And Colleen is the recruiter, trainer, and licenser for the treatment foster care program of the Guidance Center.
Yes.
Okay. And Colleen, we talked a little bit before the show, yes. But I'd like to start with having you give a little background of your own training, your own schooling, and maybe start with high school and then go on up to your college training.
Absolutely. Born and raised in the Chicago suburbs, west side Chicago suburbs, and then I went to college at Hope College in Holland, Michigan, and graduated with a degree in sociology. Then I went and worked at a group home for foster children with behavioral issues. It was for children that were not able to remain stable in any foster home at that time, so they came to the group home where we were able to help stabilize them and teach them some of those initial skills to be stable in a home. So I worked there for quite a bit. Then I became a traditional foster care worker and foster care licenser.
Let me ask a question about that first position in that home. What kind of a facility was it in size, and how many patients were there? I don't know if you use the word patients.
We didn't typically say patients, clients or kids.
Clients, okay.
So there were 2 floors to it. It was structured to look a lot like a home because we wanted it to feel very homey for the children that were there. So the floor that I worked on was called Diagnostic Treatment Center. So it was just an initial placement for kids. It was supposed to be between 3 months and 9 months that the children stayed. And we had 16 kids at any given time. And then the upstairs were for the kids that needed to be there longer term, that needed some more time. And they typically had 9 to 10 kids. Now,
was this a live-in for the caregivers? Were some of the caregivers staying there all the time?
No, we all took shifts. I typically worked 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
But there were caregivers there 24 hours
Yes,
a day.
Always someone there.
Yeah.
Multiple people there.
Yeah. And probably not as many at night when the kids were sleeping and so on.
Still a good amount at night.
Okay.
Because they also had to do the morning routine and get them off to school.
And then, of course, they also had to be fed, you know.
That too, breakfast and all of that, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So now go on to the next position.
And then after that one is when I did traditional foster care licensing and foster care work. And then we moved to Detroit. My husband was in the military, so we were moving around to move to Detroit. And I got this job as a parent recruiter, licenser, and trainer at Treatment Foster Care Oregon. And I've been there about to have my 2-year anniversary.
Okay. So you've been instrumental in recruiting and training some of the caregivers or foster parents, and then you actually go through the process of getting them licensed so that they can take over the responsibility of caring for a foster child.
Yep, I start the process with them through whatever means we recruit through. So this is a recruitment event, going to a farmer's market, speaking at a PTA meeting, things like that are all recruitment events. So when we have someone that's interested, I start with them, we do orientation, and then I start licensing them to become a licensed foster home. And throughout the licensing process, I'm also doing training with them to train them to be licensed foster parents.
Okay. And you've been here 2 years, but you have foster parents that you've been involved with that have chosen to foster more than one child, not at the same time, I assume.
Right, not at the same time. We only do one child at a time in this program. But after they graduate, we have had parents that have come back and said, okay, I'm ready to do it again.
Yeah. Now, you had explained that this foster care program was sort of initially set up in Oregon. That's where the foster care Oregon comes from.
Yes.
And so they kind of developed this procedure.
When I'm at recruiting events, I get all the time, "Oh, I can't do this. I don't live in Oregon. I live in Michigan." I say, "Well, you're in luck because we're in Michigan, and now you can do it." So it was developed and created in Eugene, Oregon, about 40 years ago. So they've been doing the model there consistently for 40 years. Here in Michigan, we've only been doing it about 3.5 years. So they are our consultants. They meet with us at least once a week. We talk about the families that we have. We talk about our recruitment efforts. We talk about the children that we're working with. And then they can support us and help us because, you know, they've been doing it for so long and they're really the experts. And we're becoming the experts, but, you know, you need to lean on the experts.
Because both the foster parents and the foster children are all individuals, and there are different issues that arise.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And one big difference between us and Oregon, which is really our biggest difference, in Oregon and in a lot of the sites, it is a child welfare program, so all of the children are going to be foster children. But here in Michigan, we work through community mental health, so all of our placements are voluntary. So they could be children that are foster children, but a lot of the time they're not. They are a parent or a guardian that is saying, "I want to put my child into this program," so it's a voluntary placement. So they're not all going to be foster children.
And one of the things that interested me, it's not just the children that are in the program, so are the parents in the program, or the
yes.
parents or guardians. It may not always be a parent.
That's right. It might not always be a parent. We've had grandparents, we have had birth parents, we've had parents that adopted the child at a young age, or maybe even recently, family, friends, whoever is the guardian of the child that is looking to get them this extra help. Yes, they put them in the program, but they are just as much a part of the program. They cannot put the child in the program and then go take a vacation. They are participating. They are going to parenting classes. They are going to weekly family therapy. They have 24/7 support from our team lead as well. So anytime they have a question or a concern or they want to check in on their child, they can get that support from our team too. But they are very much involved because we don't want to take children out of the home and say, "Okay, this is your problem. You have these behaviors that need to be fixed. Go to this therapeutic home and fix them." We frame it as very much a family problem that's occurring. We don't come into it with judgment of here's the problem. We come into it as, okay, this child needs to learn these skills, but their parents or guardians also need to learn these skills. Yeah. Because if you take a child out and you can maybe help them, but then when you put them into the exact same environment where no changes have been made, they'll probably be in the exact same position in just a few months. Yeah. So we make the changes in the child, but we also make the changes in the home.
And you had told me earlier that the way you train the parents is you go to them.
Right. Our family therapist goes out to the home and does therapy with the family. And the same thing for the child in the treatment home. They have our skills coach that comes to the treatment home and takes them out for 2 hours a week, and our individual therapist comes to the home and takes them out for 2 hours a week. If there's any issues in the home with the child or their behavior, our team lead or someone else on the team comes out to the home and helps with it. So we're very focused on in-the-home community.
Yeah. You had mentioned that some of the children are maybe adopted, and I would think that possibly with an adopted child, there may be problems with them being settling down with their new parents or foster parents or adopted parents. You know.
That could absolutely be an issue. The children that enter this program enter it for various different reasons. I don't think we've ever had 2 children enter the program for the same reason, but they all have experienced some sort of trauma in their lives. They're all struggling behaviorally. They are just needing that extra help and support, and their guardians are just not sure where to turn at this point. They've tried therapy, they've probably tried psychiatric services, and they're coming to us because they want their child in the community. They don't want their child in a psychiatric hospital or a residential where who knows how long they'll be there. They want to put their child in a home in the community where they know they'll be well cared for the 6 to 9 months that they're in the program. And then they know that when they return home, they'll still have support from us because we provide up to 3 months of aftercare support after the child goes home.
Now, when you do this, do you try, for example, children are in school, Do you try, if possible, to locate them in an area where they can stay in the same school?
You know, we often don't like for them to stay in the same
I see.
school.
Okay.
We want this to be a very fresh start for the child.
Okay.
So we want them to go to a new home, new community, most of the time new school. Sometimes there might be a situation where the child needs to stay in their school, if maybe they have the educational supports in place. We're a very flexible program. If there's something the child needs or the parents need, we try to meet that. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah. Now, you had made these nice question and answer sheet here.
I'm not going off of it at all.
We've kind of gotten into some of them, but let's kind of go to it now. And if we've talked, I'm going to ask the question just the way you have it written here. What is treatment foster care Oregon? So,
well, now I don't remember my answer.
That's all right. That's all right.
Treatment Foster Care Oregon, it's an evidence-based program for kids 7 to 11 that have some behavioral problems or mental health issues, and their parents are not sure where to turn to at this point. So it is a very structured, disciplined, but also very positive program. The child enters the home, they immediately have a routine chart, they have a way to earn points. Sometimes we do kid bucks, stickers, whatever it is, to help motivate them. They can trade in kid bucks for TV time or chips or extra candy or something like that. So we keep it very positive. We really want to focus our intentions on telling the child, building up their self-esteem, getting them to a place where they feel good about themselves, because a lot of these behaviors come from just everyone in my life has told me that I'm the problem or I'm bad. So we really want to build up these children. We want to focus on the good things that the child does, pay attention to the good things, because you get more of what you focus on. We want to ignore the negative behaviors as much as we can and really focus and praise the good behaviors to encourage the child to have those good behaviors more.
Okay. You want it to be a positive experience for the child.
Absolutely.
Overall.
Yes, absolutely.
Very positive. And it mentions here that the program lasts roughly 6 to 9 months. Okay. And why is it called Treatment Foster Care Oregon? And you kind of gave us some of that, but why don't you go through it again briefly?
Well, mostly that's where it was developed, and that they continue to consult. And they're really the hub for all of the sites. There's sites all across the nation and international. I know they have some in Australia. They have plenty in Oregon, New York. They're all over America. So the consultants, they travel to all of those places to help.
So they have a significant staff that is to support all the other areas that have decided to establish this kind of a program for children.
And it's nice to have that one central location so that this model over here isn't doing it completely differently from this model over here, so that we all remain focused on the same model and fidelity is ensured.
What do parents do while the child is in the program?
Yeah, the parents are doing that family therapy once a week where we're coming out to them. They're going to be taking parenting classes. The Guidance Center offers parenting classes. And whatever else they might need. They might need other types of supports that we can help put in place, because we really want the parents to be successful, because we can't be there forever. So we are going to stay that 3 months after, but then they're going to have their child for the rest of their lives. So we really want to set them up to be able to feel confident that they can parent their child without calling us and without needing the extra support.
Yeah. One thing I haven't asked. There are children that only have one parent or one. Is that something you experience with this program?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our children's parents can be single parents, they can be grandparents, adopted parents, whoever they are, that is willing to just commit to the child. They're willing to say, I'll work this entire program with you. I'll work it once the child comes home. I'm committed to this child. And the same for our therapeutic parents. We work with same-sex couples. We work with single parents. Anyone that is willing to learn the program and participate and make the change in the life of a child, we're willing to work with them.
Okay. What kinds of children are in the program?
The children are all going to be between the ages of 7 to 11. So we have the C model. It's 7 to 11. There's also an A model, but that's 12 to 18, and we don't have that currently in Michigan. So we're just 7 to 11, but they have significant behaviors, and they're struggling to be stable in their home. So their families or their guardians are considering alternative care. So they might be considering a residential or sending them away to live with an aunt or something like that. Basically, they're overwhelmed, and they're not sure what to do. And our children fall anywhere in that category. So a lot of people like to ask me, well, what behaviors might you see from a child in this program? And the answer is, I don't really know until we know the child. But we do really get to know the child so that we can present the therapeutic parents with really a profile of them. And we can say, okay, here's the behaviors they've experienced, here's the behaviors that they definitely have not experienced, and get an idea from that therapeutic parent if they feel this is a good fit for their home. Because we want them to be successful. We don't want to put a child in a home where the parent has to call us a few days later and say, this isn't working out, this isn't a good fit. If I had known this, if I had known that, I wouldn't have said yes. So we are very honest. We tell our parents the whole truth about the children that we want to place in their home.
Well, Colleen, Madsen, we're going to take a little break now for a short Kiwanis commercial. And we'll be back with you. Colleen is a recruiter, trainer, and licenser for the guidance center, and under the training of the treatment foster care organ. And so join us after the break. Hello, I'm Ray Scaboria. We're here with Colleen Madsen, and she is the recruiter, trainer, and licensor for the Guidance Center. We talked a little bit about the break, and I just wanted to interject a little thing that in the past there has been another approach. It was kind of a very structured way to handle children. They got sent away to boarding school, and sometimes no place else but boarding school. Right. You know? I don't think that was quite as kind of program as yours. Not quite as community-based as our program, but it has its merits, I'm sure. Okay. Now, the next question is, does it work? Are the kids successful? What do they learn? The kids in our program learn quite a bit while they're in the program. From their individual therapists, they are working on coping skills, managing emotion, managing disappointments, and then just anything specific to the treatment that they need. Because all the kids are going to be different and they're going to need different treatment. They go out with our skills coach that really helps them with peer interactions and adult interactions, and she teaches them a lot about how to have positive interactions out in the community. She also really pumps up their self-esteem, so she's really their go-to person if they want to be encouraged and feel a little bit better about themselves. Our treatment team, along with our treatment parents, also teach a lot of practical skills. A lot of our kids come into the program not having daily living skills that children their age typically already have, like showering by themselves or making their own lunch or things like that. So a lot of the time we do have to start almost from the beginning with some of these kids and helping them learn those practical skills as well. And we enjoy seeing their self-esteem grow with those too. Completing their own laundry or folding their own laundry and putting it away can feel really good to some children that have never been able to do that sort of thing before. Well, so now let's ask a question. How are the parents successful? Yeah, I think the parents are also very successful in this program. When they have their child return home, they can start to feel overwhelmed of, you know, I haven't had them in my home for so long and they've started to make these changes and I have to follow this program. And that's why we do stay with them after. We don't just drop the child back into their home and say, okay, good luck, see ya. We're very involved still. The child still sees their therapist and their skills coach, and our team lead still gives 24/7 support to the families. But they learn throughout the program how to parent their specific child. This program is not because there are bad parents that need
need our help. It's because they have a specific child that they just aren't sure how to parent their specific child, and they need to build the skills to parent this child. So we help them build those skills and help them with their confidence so that they don't need us in the future. So we know the parents are successful when we start getting less and less calls because they are handling these issues without needing us.
Okay, and what types of people are you looking for to become therapeutic parents?
Yes. We are looking for dedicated, flexible, fun-loving people that want to have a child in their home for this 6 to 9 months. We're also looking for organized people. You would be becoming part of the Treatment Foster Care Oregon team. You're not just taking care of the child and we're telling you what to do. You know, we need people that are coming to the meetings, are coming to the support groups, are talking to us about the issues that the child is having. If we have a treatment plan that says that the child's main problem is one thing, but our treatment parent is saying that I don't think that is their main problem, they need help with this thing, we are going to listen to that treatment parent because they're in the home with the child all the time. So they become a very important part of the team in helping these kids. So we're looking for people that want to be a part of the team, but can also have a really nice time with the kids. It does get stressful. I'm a foster parent myself, as I've told you, Ray, and it does get stressful, but you really need to focus on the positives and the fun part of having a child. Even if sometimes they do have higher behaviors and things that stress you out, you can also appreciate those good times. So those are the type of people that we're looking for.
Well, all people have different levels of, some people are more emotional, we'll say. And a child that's more emotional is can be a trial at times, I would think. You know?
And that's why we do that matching process, though, because if we have a child that the family isn't thinking is going to be a good match, then we're not going to put them in that home. We're going to find a different treatment home for that child.
Yeah, I would think if you have a very emotional child, you don't look for a parent that's equally as emotional. You look for one that's a little more laid back.
Yes. Laid back is a really good word for the parents that we're looking for.
Well, relaxed, harder to get,
Don't get feathers ruffled. Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Okay, what are the benefits of being a therapeutic parent?
I think there are a lot of benefits to being a therapeutic parent. Number one, they get 24/7 support from our team. In being a traditional foster parent, that is not the case. As a traditional foster parent, I know that sometimes you call for assistance and you don't get anything for quite a bit of time. In our program, we strive to respond to the parent within an hour. So if they're calling, we're calling back within an hour. And then if there is a really big issue, we're coming out to the home. So on those phone calls, we're doing in-the-moment coaching. So if the parent is having an issue with the child, we're in their ear helping them. And then if it becomes bigger, like I said, we're coming out and physically helping. We're also providing a generous compensation because this is work. As much as I'm pushing that it's fun and joyful and the parents will enjoy it, it is work. And they deserve to be paid a fair wage. So we do that. They also get a support group from the Guidance Center once a week for all of our licensed foster parents coming together at that support group. They can talk about how the week went with their child. They can talk about the ups and the downs and get advice from other foster parents. And our parents have always described that it's a very supportive program. They have their ups and downs with it, but I've never come across a foster parent that has said that we haven't supported them in a way that they want to be supported.
I'm going to slip something in here. I had it would be a great-grandparent.
Okay.
Great-grandfather and grandmother, and they lived in Calais, Maine.
Okay.
And well, you can imagine the time frame. We're talking very early 1900s, maybe even late 1800s. And they had 8 children. Okay, but they ended up becoming up like the, what would you call it, the foster house for the neighborhood.
Foster home, yeah.
And my grandmother was the youngest child in the family. So she grew up with a lot of the foster children. They weren't, I don't think they were officially foster children. They just took them
community
in
children that needed housing.
So that was the kind of foster parent you're looking for, I think.
That would be great, yeah. I'll take that for sure. We do only put one child in the home at a time, though.
Yeah.
Because of the behaviors, we only put one child in the home. They are required to also have their own bedroom, which is an important thing to note.
Okay.
Just because of their behaviors, we don't want to mess with other kids in the same bedroom stealing toys or anything like that. Just separate spaces.
Yeah. Now, are some of the foster parents have their own children? In other words, they're
Yeah.
going into a family that has other children.
Yeah, a lot of them do have other children, and that can be a very positive experience for the kids coming in, to see how children interact with parents in a positive, loving way, to see how parents interact with their children in an appropriate way or discipline them in an appropriate way can be very positive for our kids to see.
Yeah. And but that's not a requirement.
No.
You can have a foster parent that has no other children in the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is the age range of the foster parents that you've experienced?
Ooh, good question.
Approximately.
We've experienced a pretty large range. I would say the average is probably like 35 to 60, maybe.
Okay.
We do have a lot of people that have recently retired, or maybe their children have just graduated and they're not ready to be empty nesters just yet. We have people kids have just gotten a little older and they're just looking for something extra to help their community. So we don't typically work with people that have super young children just because that's a lot of extra stress on you. But it really does come down to the parents, the therapeutic parents. Do they think they can do it? Do they want to do it? We're pretty person-centered. So if you're feeling confident that you can do it, let's have a conversation. I'm not going to say no to anybody right off the bat. I'd love to talk to anybody that's interested. Our phone number is 313-388-4630. That's just the phone number to the Guidance Center, and they'll get you to Treatment Foster Care Oregon. Or our email is TFCO recruiting@guidancecenter.org.
Colleen, this has been very interesting, and it sounds like a program that some parents really need the help with, you know, and the children. It's not just the parents, it's both the parents and the children need the help.
Yeah, it's a great alternative to institutionalization. When I worked at that group home right after college, I remember a lot of the time having children that I would say to coworkers, this just doesn't feel like the right place for them. They need to be in a home. They need to be in the community. And I was told time and time after again, well, that doesn't exist. So this is where they are. And now it exists, and I'm very excited about it.
Well, you're obviously, it shows. It shows.
I like the program. It works. I've seen it work.
Yeah, that's great. And when children are having trouble, you know, children and their parents or their foster parents or adoptive parents or whatever, it's good to try and resolve the issues as soon as possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it helps the children a lot, and the parents for that matter.
And the community.
Yes.
It's a community safety thing too, because we have these children that are having these issues at a young age, and if nothing is done, then they're going to be graduating high school, out in the community, and having issues out in the community now, or in intimate partner relationships, or in friendships, they're having these issues. So this is a community safety issue to help these children now while they're young.
Well, Colleen Madsen, thank you very much for coming on KiwaniTalk. We've really enjoyed your program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for watching KiwaniTalk. Please join us again soon.